Welcome to Beans and Breakdowns, a podcast dedicated to bridging the gap between specialty coffee and the heavy music community. On this episode, I'm joined by Gage Lanza, guitarist for the band Excide. So grab a fresh cup of coffee and wake the fuck up! What's going on, caffeinated crew? Today I'm joined on the podcast by Gage and his new companion Matcha, the sweetest little kitty cat I've ever seen. She's calm now.
We'll say that.
Moderately.
We'll
knock on wood.
Moderately calm. She'll get there. Don't worry.
There's stages to the calmness. But Gage, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm great. We were getting a little carried away, I think, earlier. In the talking department, so we got to get this shit on the record. This is good. Let's start with what you're drinking right now. I know you've had some tech difficulties.
What I would be drinking right now. Yeah. I can show you the beans.
Let's talk beans.
So the goal was I was going to do a V60 of a part of like the Fellow Drops program.
Nice. Yeah.
I just picked up they did a drop with April. Mm-hmm. And this is, I took the sticker off and put it in my little scrapbook, but this was a Kenya kind of movie. Very, very nice, very light, fruity talk. They said, what is a gooseberry? I don't even know what a gooseberry is.
That sounds like some like Portlandia shit. I don't know. Is it real?
They're just making this up.
They're making shit up now.
Taste like gooseberry. They were saying, like red apple, which is always I used to work in produce. Red apple means any number of things to me, but pretty bright, pretty expressive. Initial testing was giving me a pretty fun cup. But because I'm splitting the bag with somebody, I only have 125 grams to work with. So I'm like rationing.
April 6th. I actually love April. When I got my Tricklet, I could not get the recipes that I was finding online. Like, for better or for worse, I was not liking the extraction. The flavor felt wrong. And then I found April did a recipe that was like, that's when I started tasting what I thought was supposed to taste like. So big ups to April. I love their like coffee reviews and guides and stuff. So haven't had the pleasure of tasting it, but shout out to Fellow for keeping that coffee community
absolutely
vibrant.
Shout out Fellow. Shout out April. This is my first time experiencing their coffee, so I'm speaking much further ahead than you. But it's delightful. I'm having a lot of fun. Shout out Patrick Rolfe. You make a mean bean.
Does he do Wolf Coffee Academy? Is that who that is?
Off top, I don't know.
Is he?
I don't know. Person? I know. He's connected. He's doing it.
Is he the one? We're gonna have to dig into that one.
Definitely a Google search will aid me there, but it wouldn't surprise me. I know he just put out a book recently. Is it from nerd to pro or something, or he put out another book? And I'd heard a lot of good things about him. So to be able to see what he's all about in the form of his number one export.
That's cool. I'm a little bit jealous. We do not get April in Montreal. It's a long way for that coffee to go. And we also, I tried to sign up for Fellow Drop. They don't do that in Canada either.
Really?
Because Morgan from Morgan Drinks Coffee, she had picked a drop a couple of months ago. I was like, I'd really like to taste the coffee that she picks. But it wouldn't let me ship it to Canada.
Crazy.
So
yeah, I remember she did that collaboration.
Fellow, if you're listening, please help your boy out.
Help. Matcha says, please get the coffee to Canada.
Matcha says, please get the coffee. I've got something special for you.
Oh,
this is called Balam Sacred Coffee, if you can see it.
Oh,
I can.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So the first run that they did, it was like a small collaboration, and I found out this guy runs a shop here in town and has started roasting very small quantities, but he direct trades from a friend of his farm in Guatemala.
That's awesome.
Because he's also from Guatemala. I haven't met this guy yet, but I'm trying to pinpoint him. But this is the Finca Nueva Armenia. It is their competition series. So it's a red honey double fermented Guatemalan single origin from Finca Nueva Armenia. It is, it's crazy.
As soon as you said double fermented, I went, yo.
This is a crazy coffee. So the varietal is it's Honduran and Panamanian geisha, but it's been grown and processed in Guatemala. I love geishas. I don't know many coffee enthusiasts that don't love a great fermented geisha.
I've had one experience with a geisha, and it was from Black and White Roasters out of North Carolina, and it was another fellow drop, but that was a delightful coffee. I loved the cups that I got from it. So
the complexity.
Hashtag tea lights.
Yes. The hashtag tea lights. The notes that it's saying on here is bergamot, key lime. So some of those like very subtle citrusy kind of like they're delicate citrus, and Assam tea. So like kind of a black tea. It's very, very good. It does have that nice like it's super subtle because it's competition series, obviously, and this is the first competition series coffee I've ever had. It's a kind of a game changer.
It sounds incredible.
I feel bougie.
I'm trying to be bougie. It definitely comes with an air of ostentatiousness, one might say, but it sounds incredible. It sounds extremely complex. Definitely something I'd like to start my day with.
If I could send you some of this, I think I might have to. If I can get some, and then when y'all come up to play Montreal, I'll have to.
We'll have to talk.
It will be happening.
I will have my travel brew set up with me.
Yes.
We talked about how I might be getting better uniformity. We'll see.
We'll see. Get the C. You got to do the C2, the Timor C2. Yes. It's the one. Everyone that hits me up, that's like, what grinder should I get? And I'm like, what are you going to brew? And then they're like, drip. And I'm like, get the C2. Always. But yeah, they put do not consume in a rush on this bag. Like you had to tell me that.
Yeah, you ain't got to tell me twice.
Yeah, so shouts out Balam. This is the second time I've drank their coffee on the podcast. It just keeps getting better and better. So anybody in my Montreal fam, be looking out. Go to Cafe Origin. It's on Saint Laurent and Sherbrooke. It's a good spot, and they have great coffees. So go show them some support.
As you were saying this, I am looking for their Instagram, so don't mind me.
It's a weird Instagram to find. It's like Balam. You kind of have to type in all of it, like BALAM, Sacred Coffee. And it's got this like psychedelic kind of panther and cheetah chilling on the.
That sounds awesome.
And like a mushroom. This is weird. I love it. At Balam Sacred Coffee Roasters.
Roasters. That would be the word that really sets it off.
They also have Balam Coffee Project is another handle they have listed.
Balam Coffee Project.
So
okay, I will find it.
People, if you're listening, I'll be sure to tag them in the description and on the Instagram when I put the coffee bag up. So check that out. Good coffee. So cheers. Unfortunately, on your end, you have nothing.
Hey, you know what? I got a mango LaCroix. So cheers.
That's a good one. I like.
I've been
on a sparkling. I know that you're Edge. I'm not. And we have like a ton of cider, like not ciders, but a ton of brewers in Montreal that are doing seltzers now. So there's this one. There's this one. They do a guava spike seltzer and a mango spike seltzer. So that's when I go to jam.
I mean, yeah, okay. I'm bound to the X, but at the same time, like that does sound very interesting, and I'm sure it's delicious. Much
respect to the X, but for all the homies that spike the seltz, gotta get that mango.
Cheers.
Cheers. Well, sweet. Baltimore Cortado Trials. Is it trials or trails?
Trials. No, you're right. Damn, dude.
What is that? What is that about?
So my thing was, I'm trying to see if I can make this a more concise version, but basically when I started learning more about coffee and getting into it, I had a friend, somebody I went on tour with, Zach, when he was in 30 Nights of Violence back in the day. Shout out him. Shout out 30 Nights. And when I was in Shame Spiral, we went on tour together, and he was a barista. I was not. And I asked him just about his experience with coffee and like what he looked for in a shop. This is before my palate was more developed, and I kind of do a lot of that work myself. He told me what he's interested in, what he finds, and how he goes about trying out a new shop. His thing is, if you're not trying to do straight espresso, or if you don't want to do a heavy milk drink, his thing was give a cortado a try. It's equal parts espresso and milk. You really get to see not only like what they're pulling at, you might be able to start making guesses at the ratio, but also, the skill of the barista. You can see if they're texturing milk correctly. And in my case, a non-dairy milk correctly, which I've come to find out is a different beast entirely.
It is.
And now looking back on some of like the first episodes I did, the first editions, I did make note of if there was art included, if somebody did latte art on my cortado. If they did, I definitely need to go back and dap those baristas up, because that is incredibly difficult. I've only just started to have a couple successful pours with that. And honestly, if you gave me a cortado with no art on it, but it was still delicious, more power to you, especially if you put it in a to-go cup. You are built different if you somehow got a Rosetta in there.
That's wonderful. Super insightful. I love when people show the respect to the non-dairy, because they're like, you should know how to do it. It's the same as milk. It's not the same as milk.
No, it is not.
What's your non-dairy option?
I'm going oat. As a vegan of 6 years, and I do a vegan Instagram as well. I did a lot of like trial with different non-dairy milks, and kind of found where I land with each as its direct supplement to a regular milk. So for 2%, I usually say almond milk. A lot of times that'll be like Blue Almond or Blue whatever brand that kind of has 2% consistency and texture down right. Anything like rice, macadamia, anything like that tends to be closer to like a skim, maybe a 1%.
Yeah.
Whereas your oat, your cashew, and some of the more wild ones, like I don't know about hemp milk. I haven't tried it, but some of those tend to lean heavier and have more protein in them. So they're going to be closer to like a full fat whole milk. And I think if you're trying to test something, you should test it as close to original recipe. And for me, that would be whole milk, or rather oat, and espresso.
So I found something interesting recently that I don't know if you've seen this. I'm not vegan. I just don't like dairy.
Respect.
Yeah, I'm on Oat Gang 100%. I know that. So you're friends with Tyler, right?
Tyler, I know a lot of
from Born Anew, matey chick.
Yeah. Oh my God, that goes way back. Yeah.
So he was on. When I talked with him, we talked about oat milk cappuccinos, because he had just gotten back from Europe. And then I talked to Aiden from Falsifier, because they were kind of on tour together around the same time. And so we all discovered Oat Gang is the way of life. So every time, and it seems there's more Oat Gang than not Oat Gang.
Yeah.
So 100%. I couldn't remember if you had known Todd, because you were playing in a lot of the metalcore scene, like that was very kind of similar to them.
Oh yeah. So I mean, going way back, I started getting into like heavy music. I admittedly growing up, like I had exposure to like all the right ingredients. As a child, my dad loved like Limp Bizkit, Metallica, Rage Against the Machine, big influence for him. So it was always played in the house, and my mom put me onto a lot of indie, a lot of like love the White Stripes, love Death Cab for Cutie growing up. Would put on like in the car, Sirius XM, both Lithium and Alt Nation was on it, and sometimes whatever the college station was, like College Rock. And at that time, that was 2005 through 2008. I'm a baby. But a lot of that was going to be like Death Cab and the Postal Service and stuff like that. That was like highly influential in how I listen to music now and perform it and play it. That, and then so I had all the right things going in, but I started going to like hardcore shows and hardcore adjacent in like late 2015. I met Born Anew dudes in 2016. I want to say it was at Glen Rock, Pennsylvania, in a barn show.
That's dope.
Interestingly enough, and I'll tell this story. I met Tyler because there's two Tylers, T-Sax, and then there's Matey Chick. That Tyler was having some back troubles. I guess they were on tour or the show that came on out. Tyler was like, his back wasn't right. He needed to crack it. And I was talking to him and he's like, man, I feel like I got something wrong with my back. It's like hurting real bad. I was like, man, I'm pretty big. I can pick somebody up. I was like, let me see something. Cross your arms like this. I'm going to go under. I'm going to pick you. And I'm just going to like shake you a little bit. And that should decompress your spine a good bit. It's like, all right, I'll give it a shot. So I did that. Whole back crack. And from that moment on, I mean, Tyler and I, when we would see each other at shows, and obviously like Born Anew, and when I was in Shame Spiral, occupied very similar scenes and similar crowds. That was a running joke between us for a good long while. Just talking, I was like, how's your back? Good? It feels fantastic.
Tour chiropractor over here.
That was before I was even really playing shows. I was just attending at that point. I don't know. I had a run from like 2016 up to 2018, 2019, where I was a show jester, if you will. So stuff like that wouldn't be out of my playbook.
Show gesture. And it's not even like in the same city. You're just like going around to like the surrounding. It's like, what?
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore had a lot of like true hardcore and a lot of like Baltimore metalcore wasn't exactly what I meshed with too well. And a lot of the shows that I wanted to see, the bands I wanted to see, I was going to Philly, I was going to Nova, Northern Virginia, I was going to when United Blood came around, I went to Richmond. It's hardcore. I'm back up in Philly. I drove as far as like Long Island.
Damn.
It was bad enough that a couple of people just didn't know where I was from. So I'd be like, oh, I'm from Maryland. They're like, what? I thought you were from Delaware. I'm like, no. They're like, I thought you were from Pennsylvania. I'm like, no. Like, I'm from Maryland.
Damn.
So that was fun to explain for a while.
Yeah, because you've played Shame Spiral was from Florida, right?
No, Virginia.
Okay, I was so confused. Like looking at Shame Spiral stuff, and then like all the pictures that you're in are from like Florida, which makes sense because Florida's like the metalcore, deathcore capital of the U.S. for the most part. So and it's maintained. It is maintained. Is heavy,
and it's coming back around. It's definitely deathcore centric right now. Which
Body Snatcher,
Body Snatcher rocks. Shout out Kyle. That's
the most recent Florida
I was gonna say
band I've seen recently.
Is it Tracheotomy is ripping it right now? I don't know. Jeff, who used to be in Bloodbather, who is now doing a lot. I think it's Equinox.
Oh, I don't know.
I hope that's his booking agency. I want to make sure. But I know he's been facilitating a lot of shows, and like the scene there just looks incredible right now. Shout out him and shout out all the work he's doing.
Bloodbather is like, always. I love Bloodbather. So good. I love
Bloodbather, and I love that all those guys have now gone off and they're still seeing success and still making it happen. That's always my favorite thing, is that as I grow through the scene and see bands form and deform and evolve, it's always people on the up and up, and that for me that's just as enriching as like seeing my friends play a show, is to see success thereafter.
Yeah, even if it's not in a band, if it's something like scene adjacent, that's great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just love seeing people succeed. Love my people, and I love when my people eat. That's all I want.
Everybody eats.
Correct.
Before we leave the coffee arena, I would be remiss if I did not bring up Excide coffee.
Oh, dude, let's go.
Dude,
hold on. I got a bag right here.
It is after my heart, and I'm going to tell you why. My love of coffee when I was living in Charleston flourished because Savannah is great. Savannah's got its coffee thing. It's awesome. Shout out Foxy. Perk. Perk is one of the favorites. Okay.
Shout out Perk. Yo, shout out Perk.
Like, my heart is with Perk. Charleston has Black Tap. That was the big one. We had what is now Second City?
Second State.
Second State. It used to be Collective.
Word.
When I lived in Mount Pleasant, that's what it was. And then there was the Daily. The Daily was dope because they had some great coffees. I can't remember exactly what it was at the time. Stumptown, I think they carried for a minute because Kudu had stopped doing Stumptown or something. I don't know. Yeah, but the coffee scene in Charleston along King Street was popping off when I was living down there. And to see that you guys did it with Sightsee, which is new to me because I have been gone for 5 years. It was sick.
Yeah, so this came to fruition because we all love coffee. But I would say that I'm a little annoying with coffee of the bunch.
Oh, are you?
I might push it a little bit. You know, I might be like, "Where's the Excide coffee cup? Where is it? You know what I'm talking? Where's my Excide coffee?" No,
that's it.
But we were. I want to say we were driving to California. This was the run we did out to the NMZ showcase. This was back in August. And we were, we at that point knew the record was coming out in September. And we were figuring a merch spread, like a drop thereafter or leading up to. And obviously everybody knows garments and we had the idea, it came to us in the vehicle to do the work shirt. And that design, I can never put enough praise behind Jacob Paris's name because Jacob is truly one of the most talented designers I've ever met and have the pleasure of calling, one of my great friends. I cannot believe the work that kid does. And his story starts in 2020. So to see it's 2022 and he's doing the work that he does now, it blows my mind. So always grateful for having him in my life and the work that he does. But we were driving. Tyler was working remotely on his console, and I was driving the car, and we were talking out ideas, and he came up with the work shirt design from the back. We were spitballing. I was like, do a tow truck design or something. And Tyler was like, let me see this. Okay. He's working, he's doing his job. Jake's back there clacking away and just in the matrix, making this shit happen. And he's like, what do you guys think about this? And he shows us and was like, holy, you did it. That's incredible. But the coffee was another one of those ideas that just kind of pulled from the ether. I was like, what if we did a coffee collaboration? And we didn't know where we were going to go or who we were going to talk to about it. It was just kind of something we put out there. And Jake was like, I do have a working relationship with Sightsee. I did some design work for them.
Dude.
And I was like, dude, talk to him. And didn't know if they were roasting, didn't know what they were using, but they use Brandywine coffee roasters. So in a roundabout way, it does track back to us now where most of us, I live in Maryland, in Baltimore. Tyler lives in Delaware. Jake lives in Philadelphia. So it went from where we're at or where we were to where we are now.
So it's Brandywine? Really I didn't even know that Sightsee used Brandywine.
It is Brandywine. I don't know if they have aspirations to do their own roasting or anything, but when they use Brandywine in house and they sell, I think when I was there and met, forgive me, I do not remember the gentleman's name, but he's the owner proprietor of Sightsee, and was talking to him and met him, my partner met him, and we really had a great time and I bought hat bag. They had I'm going to forget the varietal, but they had a black honey processed. I think it was Costa Rican. Could be a Costa Rican that they were selling at the time. And I was like, dude, that's insane. Admittedly, I had to ask. I was like, what determines it from being just a regular honey processed? I didn't know it's similar to Bourbons where it's different colors, different times and all that. I was like, that's incredible. That's awesome.
Black honey's not super common. I know that around here, we get a lot of yellow.
Brownies bark.
Around here, we get yellow and red a lot of the time. We don't get a lot of black honey processed. So when you do, you should pick it up. Is it good?
I should have, but I had bought one Christmas present there, and I bought myself a hat, and I was already getting the cortado, and I was like, you know what? My wallet is already retching in pain. I might as well just take it easy. I got 3, 4, 5 bags at the house. My air escapes are filled. I don't need more coffee to let die in the air.
It's not like Brandywine's not like right down the street, you know?
Yeah, I can track them down. I can find something, you know?
So the first time I tried them was in Atlanta at Chrome Yellow. It's newish. It's about 5 years old. It's a great spot. They do awesome local design work as well as have a great coffee bar, but they were featuring Brandywine at the minute, and it was so good. I brought back a bag for one of my coffee roaster friends because I was like super impressed, and the branding was nice. I love the wax stamp they do on the back.
Dude, the wax stamp is so cool. I just love that. And especially with a lot of like the ultra minimalism stuff that I see I mean, it's designed at large, but I see in the coffee a lot. I prefer bags with a little bit of character. And that is the nice melding of like ultra sophisticated and fun, because the designs are cool, but the stamp just tells me like, all right, I'm about to get into something crazy.
Y'all got to screw loose. It gonna be funky.
Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome. I love when bands take care in doing coffee when they do the collab. There are certain bands that will hire a giant roaster to do a coffee and then put their little brand on it and sell it, you know? But when I could tell from the bags, I was like, these dudes went and found, you know, the right place. And did y'all get to do the tasting? Like, did y'all do the flavoring or anything like that?
We did not. The way it shook out, we weren't entirely sure. I don't know how much of this I can or can't talk about, but I'm going to talk about it. We weren't entirely sure if we would be able to do the collaboration in the beginning. We were just, you know, we were talking to Site C, and they were like, we have these beans, not sure if we can use them. And then got back to Jake, and they were like, oh, they're ours. No, we can send you some. So and those were sent to Nick NMZ, and he did the bagging and everything. We did the design for the labels. Initially, like the prototype of the bag or the first mock-up was the design on the sticker was supposed to cover the entire bag.
Right.
It would have started from the base and go all the way up, but it ended up being matcha. It ended up being just the little sticker on the center, which is still clean. I still think it works very well. And I enjoy the touch of the nice NMZ stamp right on the back of the bag.
It's hard.
It's hard as hell. It's not overly done. It's not, I think it's the perfect design for it. I mean, we're not going to sit here and try and be like, we're like coffee roasters and we're not coffee, proprietors. But we enjoy coffee, and this is one we like, and this is a shop we like. So we did work with them, and I think it works really well.
I like it. It feels a bit I don't want to say homemade. I'm going to say like one of my favorite coffee roasters. They use just plain, like the air, like the pressed bags or whatever, like the brown bags, and they stamp like their logo and then write whatever cause I know, Tyler from, like Tyler Moley from Year of the Knife and Gridiron.
I was actually about to talk about about their bags. Yeah.
So we were talking about how they used to do like write everything out, but now they do stickers over at Little Goat and
Little Goat Coffee Roasters.
And so my friend who runs a coffee roaster, he does the same at Balance. They just stamp the bag, the wax paper, and then they write it out and write like 300 grams or 1 kilo or whatever. So that feels a lot like that to me, and his coffee is one of my favorites, and he cares a lot about the quality. So it just feels like there's that touch, you know, like this was stamped by hand. Every bag was handled. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It wasn't just like thrown out of a factory.
No, it was very hands-on. Literally, I was talking to Nick about it because I wanted to make sure that I was like, I didn't miss out on the opportunity to get a bag.
Mm-hmm.
So I was asking Nick, I was like, do you still have more? Can I buy one? And it ended up being, he was just sending one to all of us anyways.
Cool.
So I was stoked on that, but he sent me a picture of him processing through, because I asked about the notes on the coffee and he sent the label, and that's how I found out it was brandy wine. And that had the tasting notes on it. And he showed a picture. He had the 5-pound bag on the table, a little V60 scale in the center, and a big bowl that he was scooping out like his, I think these are 300, these are either 12 ounce or 250s. I think these are 12 ounce bags. So like 340 grams.
Yeah.
So he's weighing out with a scoop on the scale and then sealing them closed, stamping the back of them, putting the sticker on. I was like, that is insane. To me, that is just awesome.
That's
like
awesome.
The amount of work that man does and the amount of work that he does for the artists he loves, which he likes us. I appreciate that. He's the man, and him going the extra mile just shows. It's so sick. And to be able to sit here and be like, yeah, my band has coffee is still wild to me.
I love it. Like, I really love, I hopefully I can get a taste of it. If I don't, I understand. Super small quantity. It'll be, I don't even know if there's any bags available anymore.
I don't know if there's more bags. Honestly, though, knowing what the beans were originally, I'm sure that it can be located and that could be sent to you. I'm trialing out right now, this is some insider info. I'm trying out a Excide themed drink. Now that I work at a place with an espresso machine and have access to syrups and stuff, and I'm trialing some stuff out. So I was using these beans at the house with some syrups that I found and some stuff, and I'm working out that right now to figure out if I can make that happen.
Dog.
I don't know. I'm not gonna blow it. No, I'll blow the cover. I don't care.
You don't have to.
I mean, ideally, look at the album cover.
Yeah.
You see the colors.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to meld those into a drink.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
Okay. I think I can figure it out from there.
You can get a lead. I don't think if you got everything that I was trying to do in that cup, you're reading my mind. So we gotta have a talk about that. But I think you can at least you can figure something out.
Well, that's awesome. Like I said, I fucking love when bands do coffees that you can tell they care about. So I know Incendiary a while back did Legal Speed. They did a collab, and that had that same vibe, which was really cool. I don't think enough bands go out to try to do a careful coffee collab, but hats off to you guys, because that shit's not easy usually.
I'm trying to think of other bands that did coffee collabs with I was going to say Koyo did one. They did one with Flux, but that was a drink, not a bean.
They haven't released beans. Cause I a while ago, I had talked to Harold and they didn't have plans to do a coffee. Anyway, I digress. More bands do coffee.
Please do. I'll drink it.
If you can. It's not easy.
There's a level for entrance, but the thing that I'm very interested in now, and I think is become evident through our conversation here, is that there's a lot of alternative people and a lot of people in hardcore that are interested or working in coffee.
Exactly.
So there's a network to be explored there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe I'm not giving it the benefit of a doubt, because if enough people, I feel like you guys have a lot of friends. Mm-hmm. So you make 5 pounds of coffee. It's easy to get rid of 5 pounds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do a 10-pound batch. You'll be good.
Yeah. We can make it happen.
That's 30 bags of coffee-ish.
Yeah. I think in our situation, it wasn't necessarily we play hardcore, and we're never sitting here talking about profit margins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We did coffee because we like coffee. We want our friends that,
and it's dope.
Merch money is funding the band to keep moving. It's putting 1 gallon of gas in the tank so it moves 5 miles forward. You know what I mean?
It's
So
nice to
for
hear
us,
that.
yeah. So for us to do that and do 1 5-pound bag and knowing it could sell, it could not sell, we're just pleased with the fact that, you know, we have coffee beans with our name on it, and it's cool for us.
Yeah. And see, that's the attitude I like, is like, we did it because we like coffee and we think this shit's cool. So we're going to do it.
When I'm done playing my instrument, you know what I do? I go back to my day job and my night job. I work my ass off. So I don't sit and come to the hardcore show and like, all right, time to clock in. No, it's time for me to hang out and have a good time and decompress. Like, I'm not here to make a buck. I'm here to hang out.
Awesome. I love that so much. Speaking more about Excide, Deliberate Revolver, you guys, we're moving. So y'all are on NMZ, which is cool. And I know that you had talked about Nick. I recently had a conversation with a friend who plays in Spite House. He plays in fucking Spite House.
Oh, dude, that band rocks.
Yeah. So I was talking to him recently about how they put their full length out on NMZ. And it seems like Nick has this idea of curating, you know, bands that he really likes and believes in, because he's doing everything himself, which is crazy. I can't even imagine. I don't do the podcast. I have help from people sometimes because it's a lot, right? So, like, I can't imagine running a fucking label, you know, putting out, you know, bands like Excide, bands like Spaced, Spite House, like, and they're all
more
different.
Power to Nick. I don't know. I can barely do my jobs to talk about. And I mean, we talked about the Cortado trials earlier, so you can see just dated when the last one was. Right. It's been that long. I have chambered and not edited, but chambered at least 30 to 40 other Cortado trials ready to be edited. None of them are out because I cannot make time for that. I did a full U.S. tour. You know what I did every day before playing the show? Drink a coffee. You know what I did? Annoyingly filmed angles of shots and me drinking coffee. So I'm more power to Nick for the amount of work that I know he puts in and the work that I don't see and that a lot of people probably don't see, because I can only imagine how insurmountable that would be for me.
Yeah. So shout out to NMZ. I love this label a lot because it has that feeling of a small label, but the bands and the work that he does is not small by any means. All the bands are fucking rippers. So shout out to NMZ. Awesome stuff. Numerality. You guys released Deliberate Revolver in September. You've been touring so much.
I don't know about that part.
I thought
I think the thing with Excide,
y'all played like a bunch of fucking fests though recently, like this past year.
So Excide, we got the we drew the shortest straw on our inception because we played our first show February 29th of 2020. And in doing so, 17 days later, the world ended.
Right.
So we couldn't do anything. I was out of work and all of us didn't know. Masha is now eating the bag. Thank you. We didn't know like what we were going to do, how we were going to play shows, didn't know how long. I think everybody remembers that first announcement about COVID saying like, oh, it should be a couple of weeks and we'll be out of this. Brother. So we tried to stay active during that time where nothing was happening. So we did the Radiation Reel music video, and released Actualized Radiation Reel, and then did the music video, obviously. But and worked on the record during that time, and that was 2020.
Right.
1 full year, 2 full years later, and Deliberate Revolver finally sees the light of day. But leading up to, I think I can still count on one hand, maybe two hands, how many shows we played. It's like February 29th, March, when we played the Four in Hands record release, that was 2.
Right.
And then the tour out to California, which would have been 5 or 6 shows in total. 5 shows, I think. So that's 7. And then we just played with Evergreen Terrace. So 8 shows.
I felt like 8
shows.
I felt like the US
It
tour
just
was
feels like it
bigger.
because we
Yeah.
came out. I think a lot of people are. I am always blown away by how much people appreciate Excide. I love being a part of this band, but I'm forever grateful to the people that really, really like this band. And with that, I think a lot of people saw momentum and saw potential, and you see all these things. And we're acting as fast as we can and doing as much as we can in the time frame. But realistically, yes, we formed in 2020. Yeah, very before it was even announced, late 2019. So yeah, that is 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But we've only been moving for maybe 11 months.
Right.
Actually. So I think when you put it to that scale, yes, we have done a lot, but it's special circumstances.
I think it maybe because y'all came out swinging when you did the record release. Because I think that y'all also do a great job branding wise, like pushing and putting all this stuff out. It all looks really great. Thank
you, Jake.
But to me, the sound is what really I think does it. I like that it's hardcore with this snapcase feeling. You know, the singing is really cool. It sets it apart. It's different. You know what I mean? And in a world where, and I love hardcore, but in a world where hardcore is very similar in a lot of ways, Excide stands out. It has its own, feeling, which, yes, maybe it just felt like it was a lot because you were playing in some other bands. You had been moving around a bit. And then when the Excide stuff came on, I just assumed that was all Excide. But you guys you'll be busy. I mean, what's 20? I know you'll have stuff in 2023 already. What's going on with that?
So on the calendar right now is we are doing a tour with Broken Bow. That starts January 14th, my birthday, in Baltimore. I just finished the flyer for that. It's going to be at Metro Gallery. It's going to be a good time. Playing with Doubt from Baltimore. Brainweaves, I believe, is also from Baltimore or adjacent. Band Sweat from California. And then obviously us and Broken Bow. I'm really excited for that show. It feels like we have a limited amount of shows that have been in regions where we're from, albeit, formed in South Carolina. We played 2 shows there. And then now we're finally playing in the Northeast. This would be our second show in this region. Excuse me. And, I remember we played in like Tulsa, on the way out to California, and my friends saw that and they were like, so what, you're just going to play in the middle of nowhere and you're not going to play? You're literally, where are you at? What are you doing? Play here. Like, what's your cat is looking at me like I'm crazy. It's like, my friends were just like, what are you doing? Like, why are you playing? Why are you all the way out here? Where you guys are from is here. Like, you're doing the opposite.
They're just jealous or upset.
They definitely wanted to see some shows, and I can't fault them because I want to play shows here.
Right.
But just the way everything shakes out, and the way all of us are in different places. Albeit 3 of us are close, or 4 of us now are close enough to be able to like drive up to each other and hang out and play shows or gig and riff around. Our drummer Austin now lives in Clevo, and if he's not there, and he might go back to South Carolina, but we still have some networking or some branches to that tree. So we have to work around that and make scheduling a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that's like being in a band with people where everybody's in a different state. That's crazy.
I mean, I have done that a couple of times. Actually, I've done that like a lot of times now. I think about that. Shame Spiral was that. Shame Spiral was that. Other bands were that. It's very infrequent. Say for my first band, Knife Spitter, it was very infrequent for me to be in a band where all of the members can say they're from the same place.
Yeah.
So this is close.
It's regional.
Somebody was trying to figure out where we're from, and I made the joke. It was like USA hardcore.
There you go. East Coast hardcore.
I I've heard that one, and that didn't. We were like, oh, I don't know about that.
It don't stick. You don't
Just,
like it?
we're just hardcore. You know what? We're just dudes playing music. Just,
There you go.
Just how about that?
How about that? Why does it have to be about where we're from? Why can't it just be about what we be?
That's correct. That part. That's
there
the part.
Go. That part.
That's right.
Well, Gage, this has been a lot of fun. I love when I have somebody on that loves coffee and likes to nerd out. Sometimes I feel bad about, or I don't want to run the risk of intimidating people by the amount of nerdiness that I will go into. So for it to be reciprocated is very refreshing. It speaks to my spirit.
Same here. I think we had talked about earlier. I just recently started working in coffee.
Yeah.
My expansion of knowledge came in an unconventional way. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it was kickstarted by the music that I play and the people that I met.
Right.
But the other thing that happened in the pandemic was I didn't have a lot of things to do. I wrote a couple of songs. Everybody had that burst of creativity at the start. Like they started, for some reason it was sourdough. Why was everybody baking bread?
I tried to get into sourdough and it looked too intimidating. I was like, fuck sourdough. Like, I'm not doing that.
I'm not a baker, but and I now do a little bit of baking. But like there was that, and then obviously us musicians, like we had that one golden week. Like it was nothing but demos. We just boom, boom, boom. Shout out people like, I don't know, like Jonah Thorne, that was knocking back tracks left and right. But he's been doing that since day one. He's up to like project fucking 1 million at this point. Jesus. So I can imagine that golden week has just lasted 4 years for him. Mm-hmm. For me, it was like 1 week of like, I think I did 9 tracks across like 4 projects. All of them have not seen the light of day. Yep. Don't worry about it. Yep. But after that, I was tapped and didn't know what to do. So I did a YouTube deep dive of a couple of things, and coffee came up. Mm-hmm. I found a good guy, good coffee enthusiast, James Hoffman.
Say his name.
Who has James Hoffman, the man, the hair.
He's the god, coffee daddy.
That's the god. So I didn't think I was like very intrigued by his videos, but I didn't think I was actually retaining much. I was just like, this is cool. But as I finally got to a point where I was like now trying to brew the coffee that I was learning about and brew the coffee, use the recipes that I literally start all of my, because I typically drink like 250 mils, so I'm doing his 1 to 16 2/3.
Yep.
V60 recipes to start like any coffee and do his like 550 mil pours. If I'm doing, as I assess coffee and now as I'm like, we talked about, I have this box of April right here and thinking about that and it's starting to grapple with more intense, really, really delicate, light, exquisite coffees. It's going from this knowledge that I acquired from his videos. And then of course, Lance Hedrick, Morgan, and all these other people that, influence me, but that's not traditional. It's not going to a shop and learning and like writing it down or, how people traditionally learn. So I came out of nowhere with all of this stuff from the YouTube university. So when I got the opportunity to work in a shop, I have felt like the outcast, or I felt like the person that doesn't belong necessarily because I'm not somebody that did years in the industry or somebody that did this, that, the third. I just take from my culinary knowledge and years of doing stuff with food, specifically vegan food now. And I apply that, that love and that level of passion and connection to coffee. And I'm not perfect yet. I'm certainly never going to sit and say that, but I'm learning that with that, it's a transferable kind of knowledge and a transferable kind of passion.
Right. And that's the big word is passion. That
absolutely.
If you like love something, then you want to know more. So you're going to, try to be better always. Try to find the next thing to experiment, but I'm with you. I have a combination of, I had a background in coffee and hadn't used it for like 10 years. And then I was like, what? I'm going to make coffee at home because all the shops are closed. Found James Hoffman's French press recipe.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that was not adequate for me. so then I had to go and get a pour over kit, and so I'm with you there. James Hoffman.
James Coffee.
He's the god tier, and then Lance and Morgan and Prometheus a bit. He gets a bit too
Prometheus.
He's techie, but I like his stuff.
He is techie. Who's the other guy that I'm thinking about? It's
Kyle Roswell.
Yeah,
he's Canadian.
Yes.
Yeah.
That dude rocks. I like his videos. I like his assessments of everything. I like the way he breaks it down.
Did you see recently he did a video? It was his morning espresso routine. It was a beautiful video.
I think I saw the notification, or I saw it in my recommended videos on YouTube. Admittedly, most of what has been on this TV back here for YouTube has been live streams of relaxing music, so this cat doesn't tear the house apart.
Doesn't rip your bed open.
But when I come home and I turn off I think it's like a frog and a dude with a TV head and the relaxing lo-fi music playing in the background. When I turn that off and put on my coffee music or coffee videos, I'll see that. I'll see something like that pop up.
Yeah. Kyle Roswell's sick. He's a bit more influencer-y and not so much like the science always, but it's a nice breakup. I like his aesthetic is nice. But thanks so much for hanging out, Gage. This is sick.
Dude, thank you for having me. This is rocked.
I love this shit. I have one last question for you before we go.
Of course.
What's your favorite city for beans and breakdowns?
Man, that's a great question. You know what? I'm gonna play it very safe on this one. I'm gonna go. Am I going city or state? State.
If you want state, go state.
I'm gonna go state. So I'm gonna go New York.
Okay.
Very, very simple. New York hardcore. Can never go wrong.
No.
Especially like I'm thinking and I'm thinking because Nordic style, Say's doing it up. That's the East Coast place to go for that. Still haven't had the opportunity to go, surprisingly.
I haven't even tried. Like I haven't had my hands on anything from theirs.
They've done a couple drops with Fellow, and I've had the opportunity to buy them, but it's always at the cost of me being like, I don't need beans right now, or it's like I only just started tapping in for the drops. So really, before it was like, I don't need this. I was like, oh, that's cool. Don't need it. And I played enough shows in like Brooklyn and around that I'm surprised I haven't gone. But I haven't played a show up there. But obviously, anyways, New York hardcore.
Yeah,
everybody's doing it right. I'm trying to think of standouts right now. I'm just anytime I'm in a rut or anytime like, what the fuck do I want to listen to? Where are the riffs at? What am I want to play? I'm fucking with New York. New York's always done it right. Fucking what Madball. Like, are you kidding me? Do I ever need to say anything else?
Sick of it all. The Kings.
But and I've had pleasant cups and experiences in going to New York and getting coffee and going to New York and just being up and around. That's my ideal. Secondary, I would say probably Philly. I really fuck with like Reanimator. I fuck with La Colombe.
Is La Colombe Chicago? I thought. Is La Colombe Chicago?
Really? They have a lot of.
They
have a lot of bass. They have a lot of bass in Philly. I know, like the Fishtown location is like I think their main op there.
It makes sense. Fishtown's like the hipstery.
Yeah. But I love I like their draft lattes and their beans are not bad. I really do enjoy I just like the level of appreciation and the vibe that they give off. Reanimator rocks. I do like Grindcore House. I don't know what beans they're using, but every time I've gotten a cut from there, their cortados are pretty solid. And I always get them with a sandwich. So maybe that's speaking with it, but it's doing it right for me.
Have not been to Grindcore House, but I know the name and I've heard that it's really dope.
And of course, if we're saying for breakdown side, that's home. That's my second home. That's where I got my footing. That's where, I started going to shows and broke ground. And now like Philly and Delaware, Maryland is always cut out of the tri-state, but I've always tried to include it. But the tri-state is where I really, got my footing. So. That's my answer. I'm sticking to it.
Good spots. In New York, shout out Long Island. Shout out the boys from Koyo.
Shout out Koyo. Shout out fucking Flux Coffee. Big ass coffee. Shout out Painted Truth. Shout out
Painted Truth.
I'm gonna shout out Sanction because Coffee Guy 1990.
Okay, listen.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the thing. I want to have Lumpy on the podcast so bad. Everything that he's a part of, Days, Sanction, Coffee Guy.
Yep.
It's just natural. And I cannot get a hold of him. I can't do it.
He's busy as hell.
He's
I would
a busy
imagine
guy.
it's probably challenging.
I understand. But
maybe if you offer him a nice iced coffee.
If there ever is a day, if there's a time where you could give me 30 minutes, would love it. Lumpy, I'm speaking to you, heart to heart. Look into my eyes. But yeah, I totally agree with you. I think Sanction and Days and Lumpy have done so much for Long Island as well. Like everybody says that Long Island's their coffee home because of him. So
it's like, yeah, here's my assessment. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Makes
sense. Take
care. So, well, Gage, this has been super fun. Like I said, wishing you and the Excide boys all the best. 2023 will be a hell of a year for you guys, I hope. And hopefully we'll see y'all in Montreal soon.
Dude, thank you so much. We are playing Montreal on that.
I haven't seen anything announced yet, but I would like to see it.
Hold on. I want to make sure that I'm not speaking for something that's not happening.
Speaking out of turn.
Not Montreal. We are playing Toronto.
Yeah, you are with Cohesion.
That's correct. But this will be my first time back up to Canada since 2019. So
Canada.
I'm hoping I hope it's not the second and last. I hope I'm back up more frequently, making use of that good old passport I got.
Montreal it's like people are like, oh, Toronto is the sickest. And, lots of friends in Toronto, lots of love for Toronto. Mm-hmm. Montreal is like my home. I love it. It's great.
Hell yeah.
And the scene is cool. The coffee, I've had better coffee in Montreal than Toronto. I'll just say that. So
somebody's going to come at your neck for that, but that's not going to be me. That's out of my hands.
Try it. Don't act like I ain't got friends over her. So, yeah. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks so much for hanging out.
Grayson, thank you for having me on the pod.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beans and Breakdowns. I want to say a huge thanks to Gage for hanging out on the podcast. It was definitely fun to get into some deep dives about coffee. Make sure to check out Deliberate Revolver, the most recent release from Excide. Give that a spin and check out any of the dates that they have coming up. Go catch a show if you can. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. You can also find out more information about the podcast by following us on Instagram at Beans and Breakdowns and on the web at beansandbreakdowns.com. This past week, we launched our merch store, so we have 2 different shirts available and limited runs, so be sure to check that out while you can. Until next week, be sure to stay caffeinated and wake the fuck up.